The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. It's Brian Sachs with Homebridge Financial. Hope your day is going well. I wanted to first apologize. I was just telling Sally that my marketing assistant is in Minnesota, and she did the flyer for Central Time, but we're on Eastern. So my apologies. I just want to make sure everyone can hear me and see me. If somebody could just type in the chat box that you can see the screen and hear. So if you can hear me and see me, that would be great. If you could just type in the chat box that you can hear and see the screen. So number one, I just want to give Sally a huge shout out. Sally really put this all together and got the food and, everything else. And I truly appreciate you, Sally. And I thank each and every one of you that is here today. Um, you know, I know we're all very busy, and thank God the market is, good and maybe even a little crazy and hectic. But what I want to share with all of you today, and there's my contact information if anybody wants to put a screenshot together. You're welcome to just, take a snapshot of that. What I want to cover today is really some creative ways to help you sell more homes. We all know how competitive and crazy this market is. But there are some programs that you need to know about that really help some buyers that otherwise, may not be able to be buyers. So I wanted to really give you all some ammunition today. We're going to talk about programs that allow self-employed buyers not to provide tax returns. Sometimes we get buyers with a lot of assets but no income. We can handle that. Ever have issues with a 1099 buyer writing off too many expenses? Guess what all of you are? 1099 employees. So this is a great product for you as a real estate agent. And new programs that have come out that help investors hold properties in the name of an LLC. Oftentimes a buyer will have to buy a property and then retitle it in the name of an LLC. How to renovate homes. In my opinion, the biggest opportunity in this market is buying a home that is maybe a little ugly in a great area. Maybe it needs a little bit of updating. That to me is the biggest opportunity because it's not going to be as competitive. And then I'm going to share with you a overlooked way to buy homes that many buyers struggle with. Should they buy an investment property? Should they buy a primary home? What do you do? I have you muted. Sally's telling me. Sorry. How's
Hear
that?
us now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, great. Oh, and there's no video. We see your slides. Is that what we should see?
Yeah, that's what you should be saying.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
All right. So everybody's heard everything I've said so far?
Yeah, we were just trying to figure out how to tell you. Yeah.
I didn't hear the big round of applause for Sally. Let me hear that first.
We got it.
All right. Okay, so let's jump in, everyone. And by the way, lunch is being provided. I'm not sure what time it'll be there, but
It's here.
oh, excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, so let's jump in. This is, and feel free, by the way, if you can't take notes or you miss something, email me afterwards, and I'm happy to send you a copy of the slide deck if you like. But Baltimore and Silver Spring are in the top 10 areas in the United States where it's actually cheaper to own than it is to rent. And that's a terrific statistic to actually give to buyers. It is much, much cheaper. So we find ourselves right now in a really, it's a weird situation. So I have a buyer yesterday who tells me, oh my God, it's like the end of the world. Rates went to 4.25%. Oh no. Well, look, 4.25 is the ugliest rate in the universe if you're going from 3.25 to 4.25. It's the best rate in the universe if you're going from 5.25 down to 4.25, right? So, we're anticipating the Fed to raise interest rates many times this year. They've come out and said it. Now, there's a lot of different variables. What's happening in Russia, what's happening with the oil, what's happening with lots of other things in the economy. So we'll see. We know inflation's out of control. We know we're getting close to $5 a gallon gasoline. But time will tell what the Fed actually does. We are anticipating rates going up. It's kind of comical to me because I started in the business in 1985, and rates, I hope everybody's sitting down and not driving if you're listening, but rates were 18.5%. So, 4.25 to me is a great rate. But let me give you a tool that will help you with buyers, and that is our power purchase program. And this is not an advertisement for me. I want everybody to get nuggets out of this presentation. But what we're able to do is protect the buyer's interest rate for 120 days once they come to us and get pre-approved. Not pre-qualified, pre-approved, which they should be doing anyway, right? But we will guarantee a rate cap for them for 120 days while they shop. And if rates actually go lower, they will get the benefit of the lower rate. And we give them a $300 gift card after closing to buy something cool for their new home. So just, think about that. It's just another tool in your tool belt. Let's talk about buyers with credit challenges, specifically buyers that have had a bankruptcy, a foreclosure. I can't imagine anybody in the universe having a short sale right now, but who knows? Typically FHA and VA is going to ask for someone who's been discharged from a bankruptcy to wait 2 years. Fannie Mae is going to ask them to wait also 4 years. For foreclosures, Fannie and Freddie are going to ask for 7 years. FHA and VA are going to ask for 2 and 3 years respectively. Know that there are products and programs out there that can help a buyer 1 day after a bankruptcy, 1 day after a foreclosure, 1 day after a short sale. Just to be transparent, they're going to have to put some money down and the rate is going to be a little bit above market. But I just closed a loan yesterday actually with a buyer who was less than 2 years out of an FHA bankruptcy. And the rules are that you have to establish that it was due to an extenuating circumstance beyond the buyer's control and that they have reestablished good credit. And so it can't be less than 1 year, but it can sometimes be less than 2 years. My buyer got laid off and had a $50,000 reduction in pay for 6 months. And he has reestablished credit. We were able to get him approved. For a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, FHA and VA, you don't even have to be discharged. So you have to be clear, did the buyer have a Chapter 7 or did they have a Chapter 13? They're both bankruptcies, but for a Chapter 13, you do not even have to be discharged. You do have to be paying on time for a year, and you have to get a letter from the trustee that they will approve of you getting a mortgage. So I'm going to apologize right here because this presentation, I got really a lot of information to share. It may feel like you're drinking from a fire hose here. So I apologize for that if that's the feeling, but I do want to share as much with you as I possibly can. So, one of the things that always amazes me is when there is a real estate agent or even a loan officer for that matter that is actually still renting. So I want to share with you a program that I think all of you really should pay attention to. U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics estimates that 6.9% of all U.S. workers are 1099. The Small Business Administration estimates there are 31.7 million small businesses in the U.S. economy. We all know about the gig economy, right? And this is, we all have various marketing methods, right? But this is something for each of you to share with your accountants, your financial planners, your CPAs, credit unions. There is a program that I'm going to share with you that'll help you, generate more business. And this program also allows you to buy a 1 to 4 unit residential property. So who are we talking about here? We all run into these people. Is that right? Anyone want to answer me?
Oh, yeah, we're listening.
Okay. Waiters, waitresses. I actually did a loan not long ago for an adult dancer. Don't even ask. I can't share that on here, but whatever.
I'm listening, and there was a pole in the middle of the room with some accoutrements.
This particular dancer made a lot of tips, and that's about all I'm going to say about it. But in any case, event planners, wedding planners. I mean, every year I get numerous Uber and Lyft drivers, and it's kind of interesting to me. I wonder what $5 a gallon gasoline is going to do to Uber or Lyft drivers. But Uber or Lyft drivers, and it's almost funny because almost all of them make between 70 and 80,000, and almost all of them write off about 60,000 in expenses. Etsy shop owners, transcriptionists, real estate agents. How about that? Personal trainers, pastors, nannies, this is a big one, by the way, home daycare providers, visiting nurses and private duty nurses, they're 1099. So you've got all of these people as opportunities that you can market to that, and I'll explain how the program works, right? So normally if someone is self-employed, what are we going to do? If they're 1099, we consider them self-employed and we need 2 years tax returns. Well, if they're smart, they're writing off everything they can possibly write off, as they should, right? Everything they're entitled to. With this program, we're going to average their 1099 income for the last 2 years, and we're taking a flat 25% off of that income. So if somebody makes 100, we're going to take 25,000 off, and their income will be 75. We do not even ask for the tax returns. Okay, so it's really, really simple. If you're a real estate agent and you've made 100,000 last year, I mean, look at all the things you have the ability to write off. Meals and entertainment, your vehicle, maybe you used your home, maybe you have dues, you have insurance, you have a whole sundry of things. We're not looking at any of it. We're going to take a flat 25% off. So here's an idea of what that looks like. All right. So with these programs, understand some of these programs, these are not market rate programs. These are not programs designed for rate shoppers. The rates are a little bit higher. They're not atrocious. If we're in the 4s, these may be in the 5s, or even the high 4s. But they do want to see that people have reserves. Look at the loan sizes, right? Up to $1 million or $2 million. And look at the loan to values. But look at this. Look at the credit scores. They'll go all the way down to a 660, which is not good credit, by the way. Okay, it's okay credit. It's not, I always say 800's perfect, 700's excellent, 600's okay, 500 and 400 people are looking for you. Okay?
And not agents.
So here is a program. This program's been around for a while. The 1099 program I just shared with you is unique to us. But here's a program lots of other lenders offer. It's a program for self-employed buyers. And basically what we're looking at is their bank statements, no tax returns required. We're going to look at their the 12 months bank statements. We're going to look at the income that's coming in so we see that they do have the ability to repay the loan. And we're going to take a flat 40 or 50% off. So going back to that same situation, if in those 12 months of bank statements, we see that there is 100,000 going in, we're going to take a straight 50,000 off and we will use 50,000 as income. So again, here's what that looks like. Again, don't have to have perfect credit. Look at the loan to values. I mean, they're excellent, so really good situation. I'm going to ask you all a question. Have you ever worked with a buyer that has, maybe they just sold a house, maybe they had an inheritance, whatever the case may be, they have a lot of assets, but not a lot of income to qualify for a mortgage. Any of you ever run into that? I didn't hear anybody.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So we have a program specifically for that. This is for buyers that have they're looking at 125% of the property. If you have that, we're able to do a loan for you, and we don't really care about your income. Again, you don't have to have perfect credit. You do have to have reserves. So I'll stop for a second. Does anyone have any questions so far?
I do. Brian, hi.
Hi.
This is Terry. This is Terry.
Why do you not need to see why is it just a percentage? Like, why are you saying, if you make 100 grand and you're just, you don't have to prove where, you don't have to prove any of that stuff. Is it just based on like averages of how much those people?
Which program? I'm barely hearing you. I'm sorry.
The 1099.
What's wrong with their volume?
The 1099 program?
Yeah. Is it just like based on averages of most people?
Well, coming into this, it's called non-QM, so it's a non-qualified mortgage. And what we have to show is that the person has an ability to repay, right? And so we're not, in the old days, you would just sort of fog the mirror, sign the paper, and away you went, right? and that got us all into a little bit of trouble, I think. And so now they're looking at your income so that they see you do have sufficient income to repay, but we're also realistic in knowing that people are pretty aggressive with their write-offs, right? And so that's why they're going to just look at the 1099. They're going to take a flat 25% of that off as expenses and no tax returns needed. I'm not sure if I answered your question, though.
Yeah, that's I just was curious how they came up with, 25% off or whatever.
They probably came up with some averages of their portfolio. This is a company that has $548 billion in assets.
Right. Yep.
So they're pretty cautious, but they do feel that there's a place for this program in the marketplace, because people, let's be fair. Not everybody's honest on their tax returns. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not hearing everybody. I'm sorry.
We don't know. I don't know what the problem is with the volume, Brian.
Okay. So, some people, let's put it kindly. Some people are very aggressive on their returns, and they're taking that into account. Fair?
Fair.
Okay. And they have to have 660 is not great credit, but it's okay, All right. So I want you all to pay attention to this. I can't see you, but Sally's going to tell me how many of you have had a home underappraised in the last 18 months.
Right, so 3 of us here.
Yeah,
4 of us.
yeah.
1, 2, not many of us. 8 of us. Yeah, so, yeah. Everyone has, it's on the last year, like.
Okay. So I know you run into this situation, right? To buy a home in this market, you have to theoretically, in many cases, offer above asking price, waive with every contingency, jump up and down 5 times. There's a million things you need to do to get a home just under contract, right? And you hear from the seller, I'm not making any repairs. What are you kidding me? Nobody's making repairs. I want an as is contract. Or I'm not taking an FHA or VA contract because they're going to be tougher. We all hear that, right? And I'm going to give you a solution. Doesn't matter whether you're the listing agent or the selling agent. Okay. We are at Homebridge the #1 203K lender in the United States. Again, not a plug. It's a fact. And we do more of these loans than anyone. And I'm going to share with you what I've been telling my wife for the last 37 years. Ugly is the new beautiful, okay? And I'm going to tell you, it's the biggest opportunity. No one is going to the ugly houses right now. And ugly, again, I think, is a great opportunity. What I'm going to tell you will help you with sellers who won't take FHA or VA contracts or aren't willing to make repairs. And for your buyers who feel like they're priced out of the market, but, ugly might be an option for them. So renovation financing is basically giving you the money to buy the house and do the renovations and upgrades all in one loan. And that's really the crux of it. We really don't have too many REO and distressed properties, even in this market, but we're all about cycles, right? If you've been in the industry for any amount of time, the tide will turn. So, for buyers, what this does is it allows them to buy a home. And some people are really priced out of the new construction market. Not that there's a whole heck of a lot of new construction, but it allows them to buy a property and literally customize it. They can choose the granite, they can choose the cabinets, they can choose the appliances, they can take out a wall, they can add a room, they can add a deck, they can fix the roof. There's a million things they can do. For the seller, this is a perfect opportunity for a seller who doesn't want to come out of pocket with any repairs to still get their home sold fast. The benefit to you as an agent is obvious, right? It's going to let you make deals that normally would be more difficult or more challenging. And so we have FHA 203Ks. This is a program I want you all to know about. This is the $100 down payment program. So you might want to write this down, okay? If you know a teacher, a fire person, a police person, a nurse, they can buy a property. I'm going to tell you the good news, then I'll tell you the bad news, okay? They can buy a property at 50% off the bid price that was accepted. So let's say their bid is $100,000. They get the property for $50,000. They get to roll in all of their closing costs. They get to roll in all of your commission because HUD won't pay it. Okay. They get to roll in all of their renovation costs, and they get in with $100.
What? We don't believe you.
We don't believe that.
Okay. Well, now, so let me tell you the bad news. The bad news is there are only certain homes that are eligible for this, and they're on the HUD website. This is the teacher officer next door program. Okay.
Brian, you missed that thing. Michelle said they're in the Ukraine.
I didn't hear what you said.
They're just saying that they're all overseas. She was saying all the homes are overseas.
Now, as long as the person stays in the home for 5 years, that other 50% is forgiven. So I'm going to tell you what it really is. Okay. It's very, very hard, and the inventory is very, very narrow, but it certainly is a good lead generation. It's honest. It's the truth. Officer next door, fire person next door, teacher next door. It's a real program, and it's really, really good for lead gen. So here are allowable repairs. Here's the process. When you're going to a property with a client, you really, if you know it's ugly and you know it's going to need some work, get a contractor involved, okay? And try to get some idea of what the repairs will cost. And when you get that figure, add 10% to it. Because once you tear a wall out, you never know what's behind it, right? And I'm going to explain a little more as we go deeper here, but what part of this issue is making sure you have a pretty good grasp of what you want to do in the property and what ultimately the home will be worth once it is renovated, because the appraiser is going out with the plans and specs, and an appraisal can't be ordered until the plans and specs have been reviewed and the contractor vetted, which is another point, by the way. It can't be Joe with a truck and a ladder who has an MHIC number, because they may not have adequate insurance nor adequate funds to front the money to get the work done. The money is not given to them up front. The money is given out in stages that are agreed upon up front, usually in halves or thirds, depending on the extent of the renovations. So sometimes you also, depending on whether you're doing a streamline or a standard, and I'll explain those differences in a minute, sometimes you also have to get an approved HUD inspector involved to act as a quarterback. So I don't want to go into the minutia of this, but I'm certainly happy to answer questions. Does anyone have a question so far? I can't hear you. I'm very sorry.
We don't know what's wrong. Should we call you with a question or laptop? Is it? We don't. Oh,
You press the button.
we're trying to get volume.
Oh, now I can hear you. Okay, what's the question?
What's the settlement time frame? I mean, are you really saying 45 days? I mean, it's so hard to get contractors and all that.
Well, let's be clear. I can take the application and get it. Anybody can. Again, this is not about me, but any good loan officer should be able to get a loan approved, credit approved, right, within 10, 15 business days. I mean, easily, right?
Right.
The challenge becomes vetting the contractor, and so you got to be prepared, right? So we're going to need to see that person's insurance. We're going to need to see their finances to make sure that they have enough financial ability to complete the job. You have to have plans, and we need to know what materials are going to be used and what the costs are. Once all of that is vetted, that's when the appraisal is ordered, and that's usually where the delay is. So I've closed 203K loans in 30 days. I've also closed them in 90. It just, 45 to 60 days is a real time frame, assuming everybody's on the same page and working to get us what we need so that the process can continue.
Brian, when Danielle had a question.
Not hearing you. Sorry.
Oh, really? I don't know what to do.
Sally, do you want to call me and we'll ask that way? Okay, I got you.
Brian, Daniel had a question. Do you have a list of contractors?
Nope. Wait a minute. I'm going to mute you, Sally. Hang on. Okay, this should be better. Is that better?
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Do you have a list of contractors that are approved for this?
We do not.
Okay.
And there is no, I mean, as long as the contractor has adequate insurance, adequate finances, and a valid MHIC number, you can use whoever you like.
Anybody else have any questions? We don't know what the problem is with the volume. We don't know.
Okay.
Sorry about this. Okay, I'll hang up again
Okay.
because it's echoing back.
No problem. All right. So I opened you up again. Here we go. So, again, this is what we just said. We need the contractor's license. The appraisal cannot be ordered until there's a satisfactory contract with a licensed contractor. The appraisal is going to be done based on the work that is to be done. And so the value is going to come in as an after improved value. Does that make sense? So if you're buying a house for 200 and putting in 50, we want it to appraise for 250. But let me share with you what I shared with Sally this morning, which is a dirty little secret. Anybody want to hear a dirty little secret?
Oh, yeah.
So the dirty little secret is that for FHA, it doesn't have to appraise. There's a 10% cushion. FHA, we will lend 110% of the after improved value. And I have some very savvy agents who are doing 203K loans because they know the house isn't going to appraise. So do with that whatever you like, folks. All right. So that is the FHA. And we're going to actually come back to it. There's two types. There's a standard. Now, a standard 203K is a 203K that has over $35,000 in repairs, and those repairs are structural in nature. A streamline is under $35,000 in repairs and non-structural. When you're doing a standard 203K, you do have to have a HUD 203K inspector involved. That I can give you some recommendations for. Fannie Mae Homestyle. The Fannie Mae Homestyle is really just like an FHA 203K, but it's a conventional loan. And there isn't that 10% cushion. So if it doesn't appraise, we got problems. Usually they're asking for 5 to 10% down, and same situation. But here's a big idea, okay? The FHA, the conventional Fannie Mae Homestyle loan, is available for investors, meaning if you have investors who want to buy and flip or buy and hold, they can put 15% down and finance the renovation, and it's going to be a heck of a lot cheaper than a hard money loan. The problem is it's not going to be as fast as a hard money loan. So if you need to close quick, like next week, the hard money might be the situation that's best. But if you don't, you have a little bit of time, that might be something to think about. So again, I'm going to go through, I'm not going to go through every single slide here, but this is the process, just so you understand. There's no need for an as-is value. There's never going to be a fear of a lower appraisal. And again, we're going to lend 110% of the after improved value. Covers roofs, heating, kitchen, floors, windows, mold. Some houses have mold. And I did one recently where the well was bad and they did a 203K to just put a new well in. Room additions. Normally, we like to see that the work is being done in 90 days. I'll tell you also that we generally keep a 10% reserve. And the reason we keep that reserve is because once you're doing construction, you never know what's going to turn up. And now with inflation and supply chain and everything else, sometimes there are cost overruns. If there are no cost overruns at the end, if there's anything left in that reserve account at the end, it will get applied right to the buyer's principal balance. So I'm going to skip through some of these slides, but again, this breaks out what the standard looks like. It breaks out what the limited looks like. Again, if you want a copy of these slides, more than happy to provide them. This is a little bit about how the process works. And I even have some marketing materials if anyone wants them to get, we can give them to you and we can actually even add your information. But let me share this idea with you. You ever have a buyer that can't decide whether they want to first buy an investment property or a primary home?
Yes.
Yes, no, maybe? Anybody?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So what if they could do both at the same time? What if you could own a property and have someone else make your mortgage payments for you and still own an investment property that throws off income each month and tax benefits? How do you like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So let me share with you a most horrible profile picture of me. But this is from one of my appearances on Channel 11. I'm their in-house mortgage expert for the last 20 some years. And if you want to copy that URL, that's a YouTube. It's up on their YouTube channel. But let me share this with you because it's a really, really cool option. And there's so many homes in Maryland that are legally 2 to 4 unit. There's probably even more that are illegally 2 to 4 unit, but there's a lot of 2 to 4 unit dwellings. So FHA is going to allow you to purchase up to 4 units as long as you're going to live in one of the units and only put down 3.5%. VA, you could put 0 down, right? Your tenant rent may allow you to cover the entire mortgage payment. You may be able to use the existing rental income to qualify. That's important. I had a buyer not long ago that qualified in the 200s, and we were able to completely change neighborhoods and get them into a home for $450 because it was a 4-unit dwelling, and we could use the income from the other 3 units. And there's huge tax benefits for the other. If you're buying a 4-unit, the other 3 units are investment property. You get depreciation and all the other benefits of an investment property. But here's some math, right? Let's say you have a 4-unit. Unit 1 rents for $1,200. Unit 2 rents for $1,500. Unit 3 rents for $1,500. And you live in Unit 4, right? So you're bringing in $4,200. Your mortgage is $2,300. You've got an extra income of almost $23,000 a year. That's after your mortgage payment's paid for, right? And again, you're able to write off those other 3 units. So, again, just if you don't know, 1 to 4 units is residential. 5 units and above is considered a commercial loan. But just to be fair, there's cons, right? There's always pros, there's always cons. The cons here are you're now going to be a landlord. You will have other people living in the same property, but if you live in an apartment building, it's no different. you will need to make sure that the property is zoned. That's a big issue. And when the toilet breaks for your tenant, they will be calling you. So you've got to be ready for that. If you're doing a conventional loan, a 2-unit requires 15% down, 3 to 4 units requires 25% down. So, your duties, your fiduciary responsibility to your buyers, you have to make sure the property's zoned correctly. If it's not, you're probably going to be removing kitchens and breaking down entrances. It should be in an area where rents can be raised quickly, which is just about everywhere. And always a good idea if they could have separate meters. So, big idea here. If your buyer is getting a Maryland Mortgage Program grant or loan, you cannot do a multifamily home. So I'll pause and see if anyone has any questions.
No.
Okay. Does anybody feel like they're drinking from the fire hose yet?
Yeah. Can you hear us, Brian?
I didn't hear. I'm sorry.
Okay. We don't know if you can hear us or not.
It's faint, very faint.
Okay. I think we're good. I know everybody's going to want copies of the slides.
Okay. So are investors still buying? That's a stupid question. You all know the answer, right? But Redfin reported that in the last quarter, 18% of all homes that were sold were investment properties. So let's talk about that. What do you do if you want to hold title in an LLC? You may not qualify, right? There's a lot of people that work for cash, let's be fair. And a lot of people who just don't show all their income. What if you have less than perfect credit? Can you still buy? Well, I told you about the answer is going to be yes, but I told you a little bit about the Fannie Mae programs for investors that will allow you to buy it and include renovations. If you need to close quickly, that's not quick, by the way. But if you need to close in a week or two, there are investors we work with who will lend you 100% of the rehab costs, require you to put 20% down, but they'll finance 100% of the rehab. You can close in 2 weeks. It's a short-term loan, usually for 6 months to a year, and just get ready for it. It's probably going to be 12 to 15% with 3 to 5 points. There, I said it. So just be prepared for that. It's right for the right person in the right circumstance. So we have a unique product that we just came out with. Again, no one else is offering this product because it's exclusive to us. But basically what this will do is it allows an investor to purchase a property in the name of an LLC. So they can hold title in the name of an LLC. We do not ask for tax returns. It typically requires 20% down. It is not eligible for first-time investors. You have to show that you have experience either owning rental properties or managing them. And here's how it works. One more thing. There is a minimum loan amount of $150,000. So here's how it works. We're going to send an appraiser out to the property. They're going to tell us 2 things. They're going to tell us the value of the property, and they're also going to tell us what the market rental for the property is. As long as your mortgage payment is $1 less than that, that's it. We're done. No income questions. It's not, there literally is not even a question about the income. So that's what's called a DSCR program. As long as it's $1 more than as long as your rental is $1 more than your mortgage payment, you're good to go. Again, they're not going to ask for perfect credit. Okay, look at this, 620. But the rates will be reflected of that, and the amount that you need to have in reserve could change. Generally, it's 6 months, but if you have some credit challenges, it could be more than 6 months. But the beauty is you don't have to go through the silliness of buying the property and then paying again to have it retitled in the name of an LLC. So that DSCR stands for debt service coverage ratio. So that's another tool to put in your tool belt, right? What else can I share with you? I think we're really coming to the end. I mean, here's my information. Did everybody get like at least one good idea of a product you didn't know about before that you could possibly use?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I want to be sensitive to everybody's time. If you want me to send you a copy of this presentation, here's my email address. I'm more than happy to send you the slides. And I'm happy to answer any questions. I don't, anybody have any questions you want to call me, Sally?
Okay.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to mute you and I'm going to mute me. Hang on.